and just kind of is at the ready.
Flo's hands are always ready.
I just imagine him walking around like this just all the time.
just you look at him the wrong way.
You guys get a little bit of sleep. It's kind of windy. It's not the most comfortable place you've ever slept. It's much needed. You know, traveling, going through all the stuff that you guys have gone through yesterday. It definitely took it out of you, that's for sure. Even you, Flo, I know that you don't sleep, but it was definitely a little bit wearing. And the old man walks in, and you hear the wind, not nearly as bad as it was last night, but it's still blowing pretty good. And he kind of just, you hear him tapping his staff on the ground, just to kind of rise you guys, kind of get you moving. And as you kind of start waking, you see that
I like startle awake and my trunk like blows like toots.
Sorry, can we hear that? Can we roll that back and hear it again?
That was good.
It's just like
So when Laya hears that, she'll just like jump awake and look around and just seem very out of it.
Flo will, deactivate the sentry rest and come about. I believe making his way back down. Make my way downstairs.
Elladan wakes up, tiny bit of a headache, all that mead. Feels a little bad too, because Laya shared like her deepest secrets basically, and everyone else was just kind of quiet. So he's kind of contemplating if he wants to share something about himself. Walks down.
And Laya's just gonna like be staying quiet and like not making eye contact with anybody, and just starts like rolling up her bedroll and getting her stuff together.
As he sees that you're all kind of awake, he walks through. Like there's a door to the back, and he kind of walks through there, and you see him kind of bring out like this. It's like a bag, like a sack, and he reaches into it, and you see him like pull a couple things out, and he walks around and he like hands something to each one of you, and it looks like almost some kind of jerky or something of the like dehydrated or like dried. And then he puts the bag back in the back. And you see him kind of start munching on whatever it was that he handed you as well.
Laya's just gonna start eating hers.
Orlo just kind of like takes it and tucks it away, doesn't really do anything with it. He's not really too hungry in the mornings, but he always has his little berries, so.
Flo will just stash it as emergency rations for anybody who needs it.
Elladan's eating and he just kind of looks up and says, I lied last night. My parents didn't abandon me.
Whole party goes.
Orlo just kind of looks over, like still kind of groggy, just like isn't quite sure that he's hearing what he's hearing.
Elladan kind of continues on. He says, my family never abandoned me. They were charmed by an enemy of the family, and it led us into a cave, and in the cave we came face to face with mind flayers. I was but a boy and was not a warlock yet. My parents were taken and they were returned. They saved me, and I was able to escape. I could hear their screams as they turned into monsters. I then pretty much lived alone, did odd jobs to get by, and ended up making a pact with an evil being just to make sure that no one can take anyone I cared for from me ever again.
Orlo just kind of like nods like he has with everything else.
Laya's just like very slowly chewing on the bite of jerky she already had in her mouth and just like looking around the room, seeing what everybody's reaction is.
Flo just gives her a pat on the shoulder, like a reassuring pat. It's kind of like everybody's able to talk now because you were the one that shared first. So he's just going to give her a pat on the shoulder and then, walk on by to where everybody's gathered.
Clang, clang, clang.
Yeah.
Seeing that nobody is like super acknowledging that he even spoke, she'll like go over and sit next to him and just like pat him lightly on the shoulder and just kind of whisper, "Thank you."
And I'll look over at her and say, I felt kind of bad because you were the only one that shared anything last night.
And Orlo, as they're talking, Orlo kind of looks over at Flo and nods at him, kind of understanding what he's doing, like giving him acknowledgement.
And Flo was standing there with his arms behind his back, military pose again, and he just nods back. Well then, are we heading off?
Yes, it is time. I know it's still very early, but as I said, it's quite a journey today, and I would much rather get it out of the way, because once we are there, it will be much safer, at least, than here or especially out there. So if there's anything else you need or any other accommodations that must be made, now's the time to do them.
Orlo doesn't really say anything. He just kind of starts gathering up his stuff, putting it away, and getting ready for wherever they need to go.
Laya just finishes getting all of her stuff together, and she's like, "I'll meet you all outside," and heads out to like the front gate, mainly to see if that dude is still there.
He is still there. It is just about, you kind of see him fidgeting around a little bit. It looks like he's very antsy from what you can tell.
Is he still like up on the?
Yes.
Okay. So she'll just like climb up and be like,
And you see him kind of, not startled, but still very antsy. Hello, yes?
"Is everything all right?"
Yes, why wouldn't everything be all right?
"You just seem a little antsy, is all."
No, not me. No, not at all. Definitely not me.
"All right. Well, we're about to head out, I think. I just wanted to say goodbye."
Yes. It was very nice to meet you. And he kind of like tries to give you another little bow that he's very not good at.
And she's just gonna like giggle a little bit and like kiss him on the cheek real fast and do a curtsy and then just like quickly climb down the ladder.
As you're climbing down the ladder, you hear it like kind of like, it sounds like he's kind of like pacing back and forth like very quickly.
Noted.
So as you guys kind of come out, you see Laya climbing down the ladder.
Giving a motivational speech.
And she's just gonna smirk up at him. "Something like that."
He nods. It's probably better that you did. I'm not sure that there's much that I could say.
You guys all kind of come out, and you see the old man kind of wanders out behind you, and he looks up at the guy on the gate, and he is, "We're ready to head out now, so if you would please." And you see the gate kind of open up. He walks in between you all and heads out first, and you hear the gate kind of closing behind you, and you hear the guy call out, "Laya, Laya," and you see behind you, he kind of just like tosses something down.
And she'll turn and attempt to catch it at least.
You manage to catch it. It's kind of easy to grab.
What is it?
So it's just kind of like a little, like a folded piece of paper, and it's just and it doesn't have any writing on the front of it, but it's kind of like just folded up, like not super neatly. It looks kind of very quickly, just like not crumpled up, but
Okay, she'll like make sure nobody's looking, and then just like unwrap and look at it.
so it looks like it's kind of just some handwritten, like a note or something. Do you want to actually read it, or do you just want to kind of look and see what it is?
Yeah, I'll read it.
It's basically just a like it was very nice to meet you. I hope that you make it back this way again. I'd very much like to see you again.
Does it have his name on it?
You didn't ask him his name.
I asked him well, I guess I assumed when I introduced myself that he would introduce himself back.
But it does, yes.
What is his name?
Lucas.
With a C or a K?
C.
Noted. And she'll just
That was very serious.
What is his name?
Who are you?
Is there a little black book we need to know about?
But she'll just like look up at him and like smile and do a little wave and keep walking.
If you could see him blush from this far away, you would. So you guys go ahead and start to head out. There is some semblance of what you would call like a road, I guess, like a path. Um, it looks like it's kind of a little bit more compact. It's kind of very noticeable from the free flowing, like other parts of the dirt and the dust and stuff like that. But it is noticeable that there is like an actual like road or path that you can walk on. And occasionally you'll kind of come across parts of it that are actually made of stone or things like that. Um, but a lot of it's pretty damaged, and some of it's been scavenged and things of that nature. So it's not the nicest thing to walk on, but it's definitely it's still a little bit more manageable than just trying to hike through the woods or something of that nature. So you guys have a pretty quick pace. Um, he's trying to move as fast as he can, as he said before. He knows that you guys have some distance to travel, but every now and then you guys will see some creatures kind of off in the distance. Um, some of them are hard to kind of make out. A lot of them look, from what you can tell from the distance, relatively normal. Um, you know, typical scavenging creatures, wolves or birds of prey, things like that. Nothing too crazy. There is some terrain that breaks it up as you walk to. There's hills and rocks and formations, and there are what is left of the trees. Like I said, a lot of them are very similar to what you saw when you first made it to this area, which was like almost burnt, or the life was sucked out of them, or things of that nature. Is there anything that you guys would be specifically trying to keep an eye out for, or want to be more aware of as you were trying to make this trip?
Orlo's always looking to nature and just like seeing what's different compared to what he's used to.
And do
in
we
like
see
the
like any
forests,
types of animals?
flora, fauna. That's like Orlo shit.
Okay. There definitely are plants. Like I said, they wouldn't be anything that you would necessarily recognize. A lot of it's kind of very mutated and um, very different than what you would be used to, especially in a very natural environment that like the forest and things like that that you were used to. But you definitely, if you would like to make a nature check, go ahead and we can you can start kind of trying to find some things out, and maybe start picking some of them and start assessing what that's all about, since it is something that you're familiar with. And there are animals and things, like I said, nothing that approaches you or anything like that, but you can see some stuff that's kind of keeping its distance from you.
I rolled a solid 1.
Nice.
Nice. Quite the nature boy.
Apparently.
Can I check at all for anything like magical nearby, or like what kind of happened, sort of?
Go ahead and roll Arcana.
Okay.
Does anything
So-
happen with my 1?
I got a 21.
Okay, we'll get to that. So Zam, you again, it's very, it's kind of very fitting, I guess, but it's not. You don't recognize any of these things, so you're very not sure what it's all about. But you definitely can, pick some of these flowers and maybe start to kind of study them a little bit, and while you're walking, kind of try to get a little bit better understanding of some of the flora and fauna, like what actually is going on with it, because you can kind of.
Do I see like
Despite-
any particular flowers like around, like nearby?
Like in what sense?
Like just like what
they-
they look like or anything like
Oh,
that?
sure.